In May of 1864, Ector's Brigade arrived near Cassville, Georgia, and commenced the famous Atlanta campaign. For 100 straight days, General Joseph E. Johnston's Army of Tennessee would fight General Sherman's army around Atlanta and would be driven back but never beaten. Finally, on July the 22nd, they fought the Battle of Atlanta, which by this time General Hood commanded the army as he had for the previous 4 days, and the 9th Texas was there. And just to give you an idea of how serious the fight was, the Battle of Atlanta, the Confederates were the attacking force, and they lost about 8,500 men that day, compared to the 3,000 that General Sherman lost defending his position. And the 9th Texas was there, losing 9 killed, 9 wounded, and 1 man captured. Well, we know that Atlanta was taken, and on September the 2nd, General Ector's men all fell back, including the 9th Texas, to a place called Lovejoy Station. Here they went into camp for a brief time, and it was determined that a forward movement into the state of Tennessee would be made by General Hood's army. This was done for 2 reasons. One, to try to keep the war going, and another, to raise the morale of men who, from Tennessee, who formed a large part of the Army of Tennessee, and for which it had been named, that it would be a great morale booster to go back to their home state and fight for their homes and try to liberate that part of their country that had been in captivity for almost 2 full years. On October 6th, Ector's Brigade was ordered to attack a place called Altoona Heights in Georgia. This was a dangerous place for General Hood because it was right on his line of communications, and any foreign movement would be reported by these people. So he sent General French's division to take Altoona Heights. Cockerell's Missourians took the lead and took the first set of earthworks, while General Sears' men came in behind the mountain. And finally, after the first line of earthworks fell, General Ector's men, including the 9th Texas, were sent into the battle. We know that the battle was especially hard won on the 9th Texas. They had 101 men and officers present at the battle. They lost 43 men killed and wounded and 2 men captured. So almost 50% of men they took into the battle were listed as casualties. A man that I've quoted several times here, Captain Jesse Bates, was killed, and I have a copy of the last letter that he wrote his wife, Susan Ann, and it's almost prophetic, some of the things that he's saying to her about independence, and didn't know if the day would ever come that she should keep her head up and keep her spirits high, and also to trust in Almighty God that the conflict would be ended successfully. The regimental adjutant was also killed, and Lieutenant Dixon Wetzel from here in Lamar County was killed as well. Several other officers were killed and wounded. I think it's significant to note at a battle when all your officers are getting killed and wounded that the officers are definitely leading by example and making easy targets of themselves to get their men to go above and beyond what they were normally capable of. At the Battle of Altoona, William Q. Young, I failed to mention, he'd been promoted to general about 2 months before this time. And General Young, in the charge, had been shot in the foot, and then his horse had been shot and killed and fell on the foot. It mangled it so bad that he was left on the field of battle, and he was later rescued by some Union surgeons, and the foot was amputated, but his life was saved, and he was sent to Johnson's Island prison camp in Ohio, where he remained for the rest of the war, some 10 or 11 months that he lived in captivity. Well, some of the toughest part of the war was left to fight. At the Battle of Nashville on December 15 and 16 of 1864, the brigade now was under the command of Colonel Julius Andrews of the 32nd Texas Cavalry, and the 9th Texas was under the command of Captain James, or Major James McReynolds. The morning of December 16th found General Ector's brigade face to face with their general commanding, John Bell Hood, who said, "Men, can you go to the right flank and drive the enemy back and save the road so that our army will have an avenue of retreat?" And Ector's men shouted, "We will do it, General, we will do it." They went to the right along with General Dan Reynolds' Arkansas Brigade, and drove back the Yankees only long enough to allow the road to remain open. Without that road, the Army of Tennessee would have been destroyed and probably would have brought about the end of the war about 4 months quicker than it did. The retreat was not done in an orderly way. In the words of Lieutenant General Alex P. Stewart, he said, "I do not deem it proper to attempt to decide where the first line yielded. It would seem, however, that when once broken, it gave way everywhere, and the Army made for the Franklin Pike." General Stewart complimented his 9th Texas Infantry, however, and he said, "I have been told that Ecker's brigade were characterized by the usual intrepidity for this small but firm and reliable body of men. They probably didn't number here more than 300 or 400 men, yet they were strong enough to hold up in a road long enough to allow an army roughly 20,000 men to escape." Well, the end was near for the Confederacy and also for 9th Texas, but perhaps their worst fight would occur at a place called Spanish Fort on April the 8th of 1865. This battle was fought just one day before General Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. So this was the last major land battle of the war between the states. Ecker's brigade had been sent to Spanish Fort to defend a long line of earthworks. The army that they'd be facing would be about 40,000 men, compared to about the 4,000 or 5,000 Confederates that were defending the works there at Spanish Fort. We know that the battle did not last long. There hasn't been that much written about it, but we do know that after the Confederates fired just 1 or 2 volleys, they were quickly overrun, and those who did not get captured or killed had to escape by swimming across the bay, and many of them were picked up by schooners and small private boats and taken to safety. Well, those who remained with the 9th Texas surrendered at Meridian, Mississippi on May the 4th, and they were paroled 7 days later. At the surrender, there were 8 officers and 79 men remaining. And you think about that, and there's only 87 men left of those 1,000 who had gone away to war 4 years earlier. Over 350 of those men lay dead all the way from Fannin County up into Kentucky, and as far east as Griffin, Georgia, and as far south as Mississippi and Alabama, and all points in between. But there were 87 men that surrendered. At the surrender, it was the duty of the Confederate soldier to march up, and he would lay down his weapon, and the flag bearer would march up, and he'd lay down his flag on the stack of weapons. And then you'd sign your parole, which said you could not take up arms against the United States government until you were properly exchanged. This final ceremony was changed by the 9th Texas Infantry. It's noted that they did not surrender their flag there. In this account from Corporal John Lodson of Company C, he said that Charlie Matthews cut the flag from the staff and crammed it into his shirt bosom and brought it home with him. And when he was writing this in 1909, he said, "Charlie has the old flag yet. I would dearly love to see that old flag." The story, if it could tell a story, the story that it would tell about warfare and blood and carnage. Lieutenant Jenkins brought on the... Go ahead, Ron.
All right, folks. Charlie Matthews is buried out at Evergreen Cemetery. If there is anybody in this room that is related to a Matthews, we got to find out what happened to this flag. Now, everybody in this room start hunting for Matthews and see if they're related to Charlie out here at Evergreen. Okay? We got to find a flag. There's no question about it. Go ahead.
I have heard the supposition that the flag is in the hands of a private collector up in Arkansas, and how it got there, I haven't a clue. But that's the last we've heard about the flag of 9th Texas. Well, the war being over, there's still the work to be done at home. And many of these men, they returned home to do the work that they had done before the war, meaning that they were small individual farmers or sharecroppers, and they came back to this work. Several of the men came back, I guess you could say, to a higher calling, and some to an even higher calling. But General Sam Bell Maxey returned to Paris, and many of us know that he served as a U.S. Senator. And it was through the influence of his old friend Ulysses S. Grant that he had obtained amnesty in order to do this. During the 1870s, Mitchell McChristian represented Lamar County in the Texas legislature. And Mitchell McChristian had been a lieutenant in this company. So the men of the 9th Texas, they didn't come home and just stay silent. Many of them took up the reins of government in whatever capacity they could to help to serve their state and their country. Sam Maxey, I think it's notable that while he was in the U.S. Senate, he was a very powerful man in the Senate. He served on the Committee for Indian Affairs on one occasion, and that's probably because he knew more about Indian Affairs since that's where he served most of the war after he left the 9th Texas. He also served on the Committee for Military Appropriations, appropriately enough, since he knew a lot about the military as well. But during the 1870s and 1880s and into the 1890s, Sam Maxey and Judge John Reagan and also Roger Quarles Mills from Corsicana would be very dominant forces in the U.S. Senate. I think it's important to note that these three men, of course, Sam Bell Maxey was breveted as a Major General of the Confederate Army, and Roger Quarles Mills was a Confederate Colonel who served in the 10th Texas Infantry. And of course, Judge Reagan perhaps was the most well-known of all Texas Confederates, serving as Jefferson Davis's Postmaster General for the whole 4 years of the war. Well, William Q. Young, minus the foot that he lost at Altoona Heights, he came home and became a very influential lawyer in San Antonio, Texas, where he survived his 7 wounds and also his lost foot to die at the age of 63 in 1901. The officer that was in command of the 9th Texas at the surrender was Major McReynolds. I haven't found any information about him. Captain Robert Milton Board from Collin County commanded the men when they returned back to the state. And Captain Board, he's the last surviving officer that I could find on the 9th Texas. He died in McKinney in 1931 at the age of 93. He was just a few days short of his 94th birthday when he died of pneumonia. The last veteran that I've been able to find so far was a man who once called Lamar County home. His name was William H. Wooldridge. Now, William Wooldridge has a very interesting story, as many of these veterans do. But William Wooldridge's story, he's another one of these northern-born Confederates. He was born in Illinois in 1840 and moved here to Texas in the 1850s with his family. He fought for almost 3 years in Company A of the 9th Texas and was discharged from the service in March of 1864. When he returned home, he got into an argument with another man over this man's wife. The legend goes that he called her a squaw, and this man took exception to it and pulled a gun on him, and Woodward shot and killed him. I hope I got the story right.
Yeah.
But he shot this man. The man had served in his company, Company A. His name was William Farrell, and so he knew Farrell. But he shot Farrell. I don't even know if charges were brought against Wooldridge, but he left this area and went to Stonewall County, Texas, where he later became a justice of the peace and a commissioner of the court there. Wooldridge in the early 1930s, and some people in this room may have remembered this man, I don't know, but he sent a letter into the Paris Press requesting that if there were any of his old comrades in the 9th Texas to help him get a pension because he was old and disabled and unable to work, support himself. While he was in his late 80s, William Wooldridge sent off for a mail-order bride. And he received a mail-order bride from Wichita Falls, Texas. She showed up and turned out to be 78 years old. They didn't stay married very long. They got a divorce or an annulment or whatever, and they went their separate ways. But Wooldridge lived a very colorful life. As I said, I believe him to be the last surviving member of the 9th Texas Infantry, and he died on New Year's Day of 1936. In closing, I'd like to read a story from one of the 9th Texas men that he tells about the old 9th Texas. And this may be familiar to some of you. It's from the pen of Captain D. Ridley, who served here in Lamar County as county clerk from 1874 to to 1882. I think first of the old 9th Texas Infantry, of which I was a member, more than 1,000 strong, the bright eyes and robust forms, the buoyant spirits and excitement of Camps Rusk and Benjamin, the march to Little Rock and Desert, the river trip on barges and steamboats to Memphis, the hurry and scurry of procuring arms at the camp at Iuka, the sickness and deaths there, the hurried call to Corinth, the night march, the battle of Shiloh, the weary march through Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, Georgia, and Alabama, the fight at Murfreesboro, battles at Altoona Heights, Chickamauga, and Perryville, the siege of Atlanta, the disastrous Tennessee campaign, the defeat at Nashville and then Spanish Fort, and the final surrender after 4 long years of fighting, and the homecoming for the few who were left, all rushed with lightning-like rapidity through the mind. But where are the Thompsons, Dixons, Huffs, Proveens, Worthington, Allen, Patterson, Baker, and the host of others? Alas, they sleep a long, last sleep on the battlefields of Shiloh, Chickamauga, Murfreesboro, Atlanta, Spanish Fort, and some on the lonely skirmish line. But the memory of their brave deeds live on as bright today in the hearts of their comrades as on the day they fell. What gallant times were those! What excitement! What uneasy brooding before the battle! But when once in it, what exhilaration! What madness! The boom of cannon, the rattle of musketry, the shriek of the bomb, the angry hiss of the minie-ball, the shouts of command, the charge, the countercharge, the advance, and the retreat, all flash across memory as we live over and over again the days of the past. And I think of those intervening times between the close of the war to this good hour. Our comrades who did their duty so grandly in war have been no laggards or cowards in the everyday battle of life. Everywhere in all walks they are found now as then in the forefront. They were not willing to rest on the laurels won in battle, but strove to redeem the country from the results of war. How nobly they have succeeded. Let history speak. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Anybody, any questions or comments?
100.
100? I hope I've answered a few questions or at least shared with you some of the deeds of these men. I think they were a special group of men, as any group that you could pick during that time for the enormous things that they could accomplish. But I enjoyed sharing it with you tonight. And yes, sir.
Where's Spanish Fort, Alabama?
Spanish Fort is in Mobile Bay.
Mobile Bay.
Right.
Oh.
There were actually 2 battles fought independently of each other there. One was at Blakely, and the other at Spanish Fort. And it was roughly 5,000 Confederates against 40,000 Yankees. And neither one of them lasted very long. It's pretty hopeless battle.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Where was Camp Gage?
Camp Benjamin? One of these men here might know where Camp Benjamin is. You know where Camp Benjamin is, right?
Dodge City? North of Dodge City?
Now, if you go outside of Honey Grove, where the old house is on the hill, before you go down the hill, the old house with all the buzzards on it, usually, and you take the first right toward, what is that little community with the strange name? Anyway, it's about 3 miles up the road there. They were over in Camp Rusk, which is on the Mora property in Delta County, camping over there after they left the old city cemetery area. They thought that they were getting measles from the dead in the old city cemetery. And so they moved from there over to Camp Rusk to get away to a cleaner place. And of course the measles got worse, and then they moved over to Camp Benjamin at that point. It's a real sad deal to see how many died before they even reached Iuka. And they left a trail of sick people all the way. Little Rock, Overton Hospital in Memphis, and then they died even after Shiloh. Some of them were still in the hospital. it's real interesting to know that Dr. Stell, who didn't make it any further than Corinth, came back, and he was a speaker of great demand after the Civil War. And he actually had never been there to any of the battles, but he heard it from all of his friends, I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me how long Samuel Maxey was at Fort Townsend in Oklahoma?
Y'all know?
Not the whole time, wasn't it?
I know he was there.
Then?
Yeah, he was there in March of 1865. Now, I don't know if he was there that whole time span.
He,
That when he was promoted to, what was it, brigadier general, that he practically had nothing more to do with the Ninth Texas
That's true.
group. So I was wondering whether that was it at that point or after that he was at Fort Townsend?
ma'am, he was assigned to Fort Hudson, which is south of Vicksburg. It was a pretty valuable crossing, like Vicksburg was. And then after Vicksburg fell, he backed up and worked with Captain Joe Johnston to try to defend, I guess, middle part of Mississippi. And then he was assigned to be in command of the Indian Territory, middle of latter part of 1863, I think. All right.
And there's a book out on Samuel Maxey in the Indian Territory by Ryan Place Publishers in Fort Worth, a little paperback. And so there's a book that can give you some information. Ryan Place Publishers, Fort Worth.
Or you can get Miss Harton's book at our local library, and it'll explain.
I have another question.
Yes,
Has
sir.
anybody found any reference to their uniforms other than when they left Lamar County, they were dressed in gray? Has anybody found any other description of their uniform?
I haven't served personally. I would love to find it because I'm kind of a uniform man myself. I like uniforms and quartermaster stuff, but I haven't seen any reference. This is what I would like to say would be a good late war coat. This is a pretty close copy of a Columbus Depot jacket from Columbus, Georgia, and we know that they distributed about 100,000 of these jackets. It's kind of a jean. It's a jean material. It's wool with a cotton warp running through it, and most of them were made. They were sewn up by ladies. They were farmed out to different ladies to sew up for $5 a jacket or something. This would be a good late war jacket, a good early war militia outfit. I have seen several pictures in a book up in Hopkins County that a person has done. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but a lot of men are not wearing jackets; they're wearing battle shirts. It looks almost like a coat of some kind with patterns on the front, usually black piping. But those were apparently very popular early in the war.
Well, there's no, Tim has just barely scratched the surface. I mean, boy, there's no way that this guy could have covered what these people went through in an hour or hour and a half. And we're just talking about one little old tiny little bunch of guys here in Lamar County. We had the 9th Texas Cavalry come out of here. We had the 9th Artillery. And then we got the 9th Infantry. There is a whole week's worth of talk right here, you know? So, we look probably in another year or so for an all-day seminar on these things, on all three of these regiments. I'm starting the planning board tonight. Now, once a year, we do like the Genealogy Society does like to put an all-day seminar on. This year, John Sellers is doing it for us on April the 25th. We'll go over to the Lamar Church of Christ, and admission is $20, and we use this money specifically for our library building fund. So I think this is a good subject for 1999 seminar. So look for that. We'll try to get everybody that's involved in this. There's a Skipper can tell us stories about people before and after. And Gary, Tim can tell us stories about in the battles. And there's another guy, Gary Weiser. He's doing a book on this, and we were pleased tonight to have John Perkins with us, who's writing or has wrote a book on the 9th Artillery, or Daniel's Artillery. And John's right over there if you've got any relatives in that unit, or any questions about that. Any other questions? Well, our beauty contest. Are you ready? For the men, Mr. Larry Collins, please stand up. Over here, and for the ladies, Marilyn Bolden. Again, we want and please, our camera I think is just gone kaput, but if you have any Confederates pictures, I'd really love to have them. We're going to keep them in the Genealogical Society. I'll be putting together a book, not this year, but in coming years of Lamar County veterans, and I'd like these pictures to go in it. If you have a pension application for any Lamar County veterans, we'd like to have copies of that in the Genealogical Society. So just anything that you have about a Confederate, we'd love to have it, so people in the future can come into our library and be able to do research on these folks. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight, and Roy will hang around for a few minutes if you'd like to find out some more information about the Sons of Confederate Veterans. The ladies over here would be happy to take you $25 to join the Genealogical Society. And Mary, where's Barbie? Barbara. I know Barbies and I know Barbers, and I can never remember which one you are. She'll be up here at the table here on your way out if you need to ask any questions about the Daughters of the Confederacy. And don't forget to watch the newspaper for our October affair at Maxie House of the Daughters, and also we're planning a funeral of General Maxie. Albert, you want to mention a couple words about that? And another day. We're still planning on that. Still planning on it. Some kind of reenactment there on General Maxie's funeral, maybe coming up in August. So watch the newspapers for that. Well, we appreciate you coming out. Thanks a lot. We'll adjourn.
So Surely there's some way for it around, you know, and then here's where it started, we're going,
Bookstore.
we're leaving, so.
They got a,
I guess I'll wait, I guess I'll wait.